You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, hey, let's do this. Episode 1. All right, guys. Hello. My name is Chris Hughes.
And I'm Ryan Dayvault.
And here we are, the very first episode of something that Ryan and I have been putting together for a really, really long time. We're going to call it the K-Town Connection. Ryan, we might call it Rough Talk. I don't know, but how do you feel?
Well, according to our shirts, that's what we're going to call it. And, you know, it's pretty awesome to be here today to actually start this broadcast and podcast.
I mean, here we are. We're both lifelong residents of Kannapolis. You're one of our city leaders, city councilmen. We've both given a lot of our lives and, everything in Kannapolis. People see us around town. We work here in downtown. The city means a lot to us. But a lot of people really don't know who the heck Ryan Dayvault is. They see your name on the ballot, when they go to the ballot box. Obviously, you're like a umpteenth time in a row winner of the city council. But who the heck is Ryan Dayvault? Who are you?
I'm just the same old Ryan Dayvault that I've always been since I was in kindergarten at McKnight School and Jackson Park and Kannapolis Middle School and A.O. Brown High School. So just a Kannapolis boy.
What is it that makes Ryan Dayvault Ryan Dayvault? I mean, everybody sees the cars and all the public persona, but I get to see you at the shop. I get to see you out in the garage and rough talk with you. I mean, who are you behind the curtain?
I guess, one of those guys that just does everything on their own and try to work on everything and fix everything and just be a true Kannapolis pioneer.
I hear you.
And kind of like you. I mean, who's Chris Hughes?
Hey.
We see Chris. we see Chris on all the, football stuff for the whole state and all these things that Chris Hughes is all about, Carolina Preps, and, which is an incredible thing that you've developed through the years. And people don't understand how much time has gone into that. And the time that, I've watched you work on that, it's been crazy. So tell us about you.
Well, yeah, I'm from Kannapolis as well. Lived my whole life with the exception of kind of going away for some military duty and here and there. But yeah, I love this town. I grew up here. I'm proud to call Kannapolis my home. Went to kindergarten at Fred L. Wilson High School, product of Kannapolis City Schools. That was until my mom moved us out to Enochville and ended up graduating from South Rowan. Of course, went into the military, jumped out of perfectly good airplanes for a living, went off and fought in the war, a bunch of crazy stuff like that. But for the past 20 years, I guess it is, 20 or so years, I've really devoted my life to covering prep football, high school sports, promoting our young athletes. And my mission at Carolina Preps, it's not just who's winning the football game. It's how football promotes the community and binds the community and stuff together. So, that's kind of my background. Of course, I work for the University of North Carolina and, live here in Kannapolis, and we'll get into that stuff later. But, yeah, I'm a pioneer here as well, I guess.
Well, I guess I'll let you pass. South Rowan is a little bit better than saying you graduated from Concord. But, we got, Kannapolis right here on the table, right in front of us. So, I'll be a wonder forever. But I'll give you a pass on that.
Well, you give me a pass because I'll start rough talking you if you don't. We a lot of people don't know this. Some people do know this, but Ryan and I are actually family. We're both part of this Dayvault clan. Why is the Dayvault clan? Why are we so important to Kannapolis? All of our previous family members that's gone on to live with the Lord, if you read all the obituaries, all of our family members, it always says a pioneer family. We were one of the original little families that set up here way back in the olden days.
Right. And, it's pretty cool to be able to be here, essentially on our farm, working at our real job. And then, when I go to city council meetings, working at the same place, same farm. And, even where we're sitting today, square of downtown Kannapolis, our family's farmhouse was right across the street. Yeah. And, it faced what's now Ridge Avenue. And, not many people are blessed with that sort of heritage to be able to say, look, our people were here from the 1700s till present, and we're still part of that piece of the puzzle, I guess.
Yeah, no kidding. And I didn't kind of mention in our little bio of ourselves. I worked in the mill for a very short amount of time, about a year, when I got out of the Army the first time. I went back in the Army, and you know what? I hated working in that mill when I was there. It was hot, and, I was a true lint head, I guess is the best way of putting it. But that's before I went off to college and did all this crazy stuff. But, now, 30 years later, I look back, and I'm like, dadgummit, I'm glad I worked in that mill on the plot of land that our great-great-grandpa sold to the Cannon family to work there. I mean, that's just kind of a cool connection that I've got, and I know that you've got too with this downtown.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could say that I actually worked in the mill some, but my dad, my mom, my grandparents, everybody worked in the mill.
Everybody,
and,
everybody on my side of the family.
Part of the way of life. I mean, I remember going into the garage when my dad was working there and thinking it was the coolest place. I mean, the garage was a garage.
Yeah.
And seeing the trucks and all the things that were in the garage and going in the gate and seeing the warehouses and the sounds and lights of the factory being there.
I can still smell it. I remember walking into that plant. Well, I got to walk in it the first time in '87. My mom, she was a supervisor up there, and back in '87 when the plant was 100 years old, or the mill was 100 years old, we went in there and, they opened it up and family members could go, and it was a really cool thing. And then to go back through those gates in 1998 as a worker and just hear those sounds and get to know the people. I mean, these are the common people of Kannapolis, and, get to hear them rough talking each other during the coffee breaks or whatever like that. That I think that made me a lot of who I am, and maybe why I'm a little off balance at times, because I got rough talk by some of them old timers that said, "Boy, you better straighten up." And that kind of brings me, what the heck is rough talk? We got it on our shirts. You and I use that slogan all the time. What the heck is rough talk?
It's just real talk. I mean, it's as real as you get. I mean, it's a little bit of I guess our city's racing heritage coupled with the city's textile heritage, and it just kind of comes out that way.
Yeah. I remember working in the bleachery way down there in the basement under the dye department, and I guess I was in a little caged off section I shouldn't have been in, and one of the guys said, "Get on out of there!" And I guess he rough talked me.
He did. He
Man, sure did. Well, here we are, guys. Again, this is episode 1 of the Kannapolis K-Town Connection. My man Ryan Dayvault, and again, I'm Chris Hughes. Let's really get down to business. We hope you guys come back for many, many hundreds of episodes to come. But what the heck is the show? Why did we come up with it? And what really can you expect from it? It was my philosophy when I kind of came up to it. I wanted to create a digital scrapbook, a history book of everything from the news, the events, the happenings, from politics to local sports, anything and everything in between, in addition to showcasing just our everyday citizens here in town. That's kind of what I was thinking about it. Ryan, I know we've had hours and hours of deliberation and how we thought this show would go. Why are you doing this show? What do you feel like we can give back?
I think we can fill a void that has been created since we lost the Daily Independent, quite frankly, many years ago.
Speaking of, we got
an old copy right here in front of us. And it's a bit better. No paper any better than picture about the Earnhardt family.
No kidding.
But I think we've lost that newspaper many years ago, and thankfully it's still in business. But their efforts to cover any city from any newspaper is challenged these days because of funding and staffing issues and quite frankly paper delivery issues. Not having enough people to deliver papers. So, and I think people are looking for what's happening, what's current, and from all different perspectives, whether it's, like you said, politics, news. I mean, I really don't want to discuss the politics much because that's what I talk about a lot. And I want to talk about all the other stuff. I want to talk about the people, the impact of the people that have been here forever and the people that are coming in. So the older community can learn the new folks. And, I think that's a vital piece of what we're doing.
Yeah. Talking about something that's been here forever. And something that's the here now, today. The studio, we're sitting right here at the corner of Main Street and Laureate Avenue, or Laureate Way. The original WRKB offices. I mean, here we are in a very beautifully refurbished office. I mean, everybody that took part in this, Ken Lingefeld, all of the staff, Leah Allen, a lot of people that had a hand in what we're doing right here. I mean, this is the here and now. I mean, could anybody in Kannapolis believe back, and let's just arbitrarily throw a year out, 2003, that you and I or anybody would be sitting in this old dilapidated studio doing a podcast in 2024.
No, I mean, it would have been hard to believe. And in fact, I remember I have pictures somewhere in my phone or on my computer from 2014 when I walked in this studio, and for the very first time, I had never been in these buildings upstairs, and these buildings have been, shut off for years. And it was right before the city bought the buildings, and I did a tour of the buildings. It was me and another guy who worked for Murdoch's company, and I walked in. There's buckets in the floor catching the water, and there's all sorts of issues with these rooms. They look terrible, but I was so excited about what this could be again, and I really hoped and prayed that it wouldn't be just torn down or gutted as many buildings have.
I've got to just again stand up and tip my cap to Ken Lingerfeld and everybody that had a hand in doing this. I've got so many memories of radio here in Kannapolis, and you think of some of the old time greats like Chuck Irvin and Randy Whitley and Carl Ford, and we've got Carl Ford's WRKB, WRNA studios right next to us up here. I mean, those are really you talk about pioneer family with the Dayvault family. Those are some of the pioneers when it comes to over-the-air waves in what used to be. You mentioned the Independent as well. The Frankie Pattersons of the world. But those are the people that really brought the news to the town here in Kannapolis.
They did, and this studio is at the center of that once again. And I'm, when Carl starts broadcasting again here in a very short period of time, that's going to be a phenomenal thing for just the image that projects.
Yes.
And Chris and I went out and bought a on air neon sign that some of you've probably seen in the windows of this building, and just trying to generate the buzz about what's coming back.
Yeah.
And because that's something that's been lost here for a long time.
Yeah, I get people all the time. They say, "Man, is that your office?" Or they'll say, "Hey, I saw you sitting in your office from the park, and I didn't realize." My office is like a fishbowl. Anybody can see in there when we're working at night. But it's pretty cool to know that you're right there in the center of town, and it just warms my heart. Again to love Kannapolis the way I do. To mention those names. The Randy Whitleys and the Chuck Irvins of the world. And now we're in those same grouping of individuals bringing the news to the people today. So that's pretty cool. Speaking of bringing it to them with this K-Town connection, what can viewers expect from us and from this show?
I think number one, we want to have a good time, and we want to have
good time. Hey, that's a sun drop break, everybody. All right, we're going to take us a resident break right here. Sun Drop is the official drink of the K-Town Connection. That citrus taste that we go wild for, it was also the citrus taste that Dale Earnhardt went wild for, and we always stop and go 3 for Dale.
That's right. So,
all right, so back to it.
So, have good folks that people we think should be talked about and talked with on this show, and having that opportunity to take the news to the people and by the people, let them tell the story.
Yes.
We don't want to be the one sitting here talking like we're doing right now. We want to deliver stories. We want to tell what's going on, sports wise, whatever genre of information it is. But we want people to be telling us what's going on.
Yes.
And and you mentioned this earlier about preserving the history and having a live scrapbook, if you will. The Kannapolis History Associates have been doing that for a while, recording talks and their meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this is going to be an extension of that.
Absolutely. And, that kind of goes to one of the bullet points I put in our little talking points for this episode 1 of the K-Town Connection is how are we going to give back to the community? And that's exactly it. It's creating a digital reference book that hopefully can be used, kind of like the Kannapolis History Associates, for years and years, if not decades, maybe even a century to come. Everything that happens online, it stays there. And I remember going to my grandparents' house in the old days. Of course, we had the old photo album that you turn the page. Yeah, right there. We've got some of our some of our ancestors right here, and we always have Charlie and J.W. Cannon looking over our shoulder here in this studio. But I always wanted to give back, and you mentioned some of the individuals here in town who are the real newsmakers that I want to be able to bring on and put at this round table with us on a weekly basis and let them tell the story. Maybe it's somebody from the 1970s who could tell us about Idiot Circle. I'm sure we're going to try to get some newsmakers like Carrie Earnhardt on here, and some of the other guys, maybe Coach Justin Harden from the high school, and some of our political leaders, and some of the just people that's been around this town like we have for a long time. Because Chris Hughes, Ryan Dayvault, we've been in this town for a long time. But there's some gentlemen and some ladies as well that have been here for a whole lot longer than us, and we'd be crazy not to listen to them and hear what they've got to say.
Well, and, unfortunately, like last 2 weeks ago, we lost another big piece of our Kannapolis history, passing on Mr. Ralph Deal. And, people like him are going away, and we need to document these people. We need to talk to them, let them tell their story, and let them interface to see. And it's exciting to bring people like that into these studios.
Yes.
Because nobody really understands that this is still here.
No kidding. And I know I've shown some of our close friends and family the studios up here, and I've had a lot of people ask to come up here now that they know we've got an office. And I can't wait. And I mentioned his name, but someone like Chuck Irvin, he used to broadcast right here in this very room that we're sitting in. For sure. And to bring someone like that up here. And, it was not even a month ago I was up here when Carl Ford was looking at it for the first time since like the 1970s. And you'd have thought it was Christmas seeing the look on Carl Ford. And he's one of our state senators coming back to a place that was so near and dear to his heart growing up in here. That's what it's all about to me.
It is. And, we attended a Kannapolis Education Foundation breakfast this morning, and there's so many people in that room that we need to bring in here. And
Dr. Ed Tyson.
Oh yeah, the list goes on and on. Mr. Graham.
Yeah, Graham.
It's tremendous amount of people just in that one room. And then if we think about it, and again this week we lost Mike Morton. That's what a huge source of information. He was a big history buff. He would have definitely been on this show if we could have gotten him in here. But maybe we can get Mike Jr. in here.
Yeah, Mike Jr. Come from my generation, big-time player at A.L. Brown, a Moorhead scholar, went on to University of North Carolina, a great football player, NFL player. Super Bowl winner, and then come back and be a dentist in his own town. Right. And he gives back his time to the local football team to help this upcoming generation. That's kind of what we're doing. We're using this show, unfortunately, and, I do say it unfortunately, we weren't football players, and especially I wasn't a NASCAR driver. People often ask me, if I could have done anything in this world, what would I be doing? I'd have been driving a NASCAR. That would have been it. I'd have been driving for DEI.
Right.
And, that wasn't it. But what I do have is a pretty good voice and a really good...
you got a nice T-shirt.
I do have a nice T-shirt. And, I've just got this affinity for preserving history, whether it's in my high school football or sports knowledge or this town. I just want to use this platform for us to give back.
I agree. And, the whole preserving of history... It's not just about the buildings that we're in. As you know, and many people know, we restoring old cars, preserving that history of our nation's. That's our nation's history.
Yeah, no kidding.
Not let alone the local history. And I just think all those aspects are important.
Yeah. You want to have fun, follow us on Facebook. You'll see the real fun on the weekends. We do have a lot of fun. Well, just to kind of put a bow on things, we are here to tell the story of Kannapolis, to tell the story of the town, to bridge the history from the old days, the pioneer days. And, we got the pictures right here behind us of the Dayvault family before this town was even Kannapolis. The downtown Main Street used to be the Great Wagon Road that went from Pennsylvania all the way down to the southernmost states. To tell the story of that, our great-great-grandfather, Paul Dayvault, selling the town to Southern Railroad and to J.W. Cannon, and how this became Kannapolis. And, I think that there's a story just in that, not to mention, just the evolution and the growth of Cannon Mills, the closing of Cannon Mills, the research campus coming through, and then not to mention just all the NASCAR history with the Earnhardt family. And we're not just talking about Dale, Ralph Earnhardt, Kerry Earnhardt, Dale Jr., all of them, and how that's kind of intertwined with our family.
Even Kathy.
Yeah, Kathy and Kay.
Driving cars back in the day, and Kelly.
We've got the sports, we've got the bobbleheads right here, the minor league baseball history going way back when, the entertainment, business growth galore. I mean, again, talk about somebody that's, if you haven't been to Kannapolis in a while, let's say you're finding this on social media and you're from Kannapolis, but let's just say you haven't been here in 10 or 15 years. That gummit, I'd get in a car and take a road trip here one weekend, because while you're going to recognize it, this Kannapolis that we're living in, and let me just say this, and it burns me up, because I got some of these family members, they're old mill.
Now we're getting ready to get rough talk.
And they used to say, from the womb to the tomb, you're a mill guy, and you're going to stay in that mill forever. Well, guess what? The mill's gone. Live with the Kannapolis that we're in. What a great town that we have. Everything you could ever want. Close to Charlotte. You've got the history, but you've got new, young, vibrant growth. You've got businesses wanting to move here. I mean, good gosh, why wouldn't you want to be in Kannapolis, man?
I don't know. Somebody needs to tell me. I mean, it's a phenomenal place. I'm glad we were both able to grow up here, obviously, and experience it. And we're fortunate, because we experienced it the old way, and now we can experience it the newer way, which is it's a new version of the old way.
It is.
The research campus replaced the mill as far as its physical presence.
Mm-hmm.
So our downtown is the same, but we have to have some sort of economic generator at that centralized location, and that's essentially what that is served as.
It is.
And we just have to figure out a way to maximize that, get the word out. And a lot of times we're our own worst enemy, that we don't tell the story. We don't tell the story the way it really needs to be told, and and just get the common people informed about how really good it is for what has happened, and how it's changed, and how it has attracted young people to want to live here again. Because 20 years ago, that wasn't the case.
Yep. Well, guys, I'm going to kind of put a bow on this first episode of the K-Town Connection. But as you've kind of seen, we're here to entertain you. I hope that you've been entertained. And we've kind of went a little up and down. We're definitely here to inform you, as we mentioned. And we're here to make you laugh. And I think we've done a little bit of that, too.
I hope so.
And I think we're going to do a lot more of that. I'm really looking forward to what the future holds here for the K-Town Connection. I think we're going to have a whole lot of fun. We're going to start bringing guests in from this moment forward. So episode 1 is about to be in the books. I think I'm going to go get a Whataburger now. I got the Sun Drop. You've got the Lance Crackers. I mean, it don't get no much more Rowan County than that.
No.
But any final words for you, Ron Dayvault?
I think I'm just excited. It's felt my heart kind of beating hard at first when we were getting ready to go live with the cameras, and thinking, wow, this is actually happening. And we've, as much work as we've all put into this, and of course with everybody that's been a part of it, it's been an incredible journey, and here we are, and we get to do this, and thank God we're able to do it.
Yeah, no kidding. We got Benjamin behind the glass pushing the buttons, really making this sound good. Leah Allen out there, Chris, Ken Lingefeld. There's a lot of people that we really got to thank that have made what we're doing happen. So I want to thank you guys. We're going to have a lot more from the K-Town Connection here coming up really soon. But for episode 1, it's in the books, Ron. For Ron Dayvault, Chris Hughes, hey, this is it. 3 for Dale.
3 for Dale.